Hello, I started my YouTube channel in January, so it is time for my quarterly report. These are the grades I give myself on how well I achieve my reading goals. So in January, I wanted to redefine how I read and really take in some different types of genre other than my primarily romantic genre. Now, I started this YouTube channel because I love books and I love to read. But when I examined what I was reading, it was very, very singular in that more than 90% of what I read was in the romance genre. So I decided that my new reading goals were going to be in four categories. One, that I was going to read a literary classic. Two, that I was going to read a book by a Black author. Three, that I was going to read a nonfiction book. And four, of course, was my book club book. And then any additional books that I had time for. In addition to that, I said that I was going to write a book review for every book that I read. And this was to help me be more part of the book club community or the book community, which I had not been in the past. Now let's go ahead and review my report card for those months. In January, I read 6 books. Hit all of the categories that I said I wanted to read. In addition, I read 2 others. I wrote 3 book reviews in that month. So I gave myself an 88 or a B+. Now, I reviewed all of the books on my YouTube channel. I talked about them on my YouTube channel, but I didn't do a written review, which was my primary goal, was to make sure I wrote a written review. Because not everybody is getting exposed to my YouTube channel, so nor will they get exposed to my book reviews, but at least I was putting it out there and I was really giving it some thought and to put that book review out there. So in January, that was January. So in February, I again read 6 books. Now, February is Black History Month, so all the books I read, with the exclusion of one, were by Black authors. And they all fell into that realm of the literary classics that I felt, a Black author, nonfiction, and my book club book. So I read 6 books, but I only wrote 1 book review. So when I gave myself a C+ or a 79 in that category. In March, I read 1 book, and I didn't do any book reviews. Now, what happened, you may ask? Well, March, spring break happened. My godchild and her mom and her best friend and I went on a cruise, and we had a great time. But I thought I was going to be able to read and, have my leisure time on the boat. It just didn't happen. I didn't read but about 10 pages on the whole trip. In addition to that, I would say it was poor planning and poor time management. I did not set aside the time that I needed to read and get things done. Now, a part of that, and I'm not making any excuses, I missed the mark. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But what I will say is that starting this YouTube channel is a huge learning curve. Just taking the time to edit the videos, oh my God, especially when you don't know what you're doing, what a time cruncher it is. And then just not setting aside enough time. In addition, your family, your work, your church, all those things came into play. I am not making excuses. I know that I have to do better. Anyway, my overall goal was a 69, which is a D. I am not a D person. I don't do D work, but I got a D. Actually, my combined score was a 60. I just barely made a D. These were not just arbitrary figures I put out there. I really did it mathematically. 75% of my grade was if I attained the reading assignments. And then 25% of my grade came from the number of books that I did a book review on. So it was a mathematical, it just wasn't grabbing out of the air kind of evaluation for myself. So what am I going to do to improve? I am going to set aside time to read. I am going to make sure that I read that much and that I set aside time to write. I don't really like to write, but there's something that I must do because I said I was going to do it. So you got to do it. set aside that time to do it. Instead of just playing solitaire or watching TV, I need to write my book review. And really, I got to thinking, do I really want to grade myself? I mean, I read for the joy of reading. You know, whether I learn something or not, it's just the joy of reading, the joy of looking at the written word. So do I want to put pressure on myself by grading myself? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because it keeps me on track doing what I said I was going to do. I said that I was going to give this YouTube channel my all in all for a year. And all those goals are encompassed in that. And then no, I don't really want to grade myself because I do read for the love of reading, and if for no other reason. So there you go. I just laid it out there. You let me know what you think. Should I keep track of what I'm reading and grade myself, or should I just do it for the love of reading? Anyway, I love to read. I love doing this channel, even though it really is a true challenge for me, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So be blessed and read.